This is a direct plea to Zack Snyder himself. Please stop.
Bing bong!
Well, Zack Snyder's back in the news. He released another Rebel Moon movie recently, and a couple weeks ago I made a video about Zack Snyder when he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and said a whole bunch of really dumb stuff, but I certainly was not expecting to make another video about him so soon, but I feel like I have to because Zack, please. This is a direct plea to Zack Snyder himself. Please stop. Please stop making these Rebel Moon movies. I saw in an article that he's planned like 6 of these. There's only 2 of them so far. And I remember when Netflix announced that they were in partnership with Zack Snyder and they were going to be putting out some of his movies. He had this idea for this like gritty Star Wars, which is just like, that's part of his whole problem is like Zack Snyder's entire strategy with filmmaking seems to be takes whatever it is, but it's got to be gritty. It's got to be a gritty adaptation of that. That's the only way it's going to be good, which I feel like he's only proving that that's not the case because all of his gritty adaptations of things tend to be really, really bad. I said in the video I made a couple weeks ago that Zack has a really loose grasp on writing characters, specifically Batman, who he thinks should be a murderous psychopath, even though that's like the one thing Batman is not supposed to become. These Rebel Moon movies, I feel like all the criticism I'm hearing, because look, it's criticism. I'm not watching these movies. I'm done with the Snyderverse, man. I'm done with the cult of Snyder. I got out. I got out of the cult. I was a fan of a few of his movies, even most recently the Snyder cut of the Justice League. I was not one of those fucking weirdos on the internet sending death threats and shit to Warner Bros. To release the Snyder Cut. But I was a fan of the movie. I thought it was actually genuinely good. Although every time this guy opens his fucking mouth, I really wish that I hated that movie because he just makes it really hard to defend essentially anything that he's made in the last several years. I don't know what sort of revenge tour you're on for making people sit through these Rebel Moon films. And I feel bad because I'm seeing a lot of people talk about how brutal these movies are to watch and how much hilarious overuse of slow motion there is. And I don't know what to say. I think we're seeing the shalamification of Zack Snyder. We're seeing a guy who started with all the good grace in the world. He made 300. Everybody lost their minds. And then just slowly made worse and worse movies until everybody universally hates it. Well, not universally, because I know there's a bunch of people out there who still worship the cult of Snyder. But, you know, maybe this is like an M. Night Shyamalan situation where in 10 years, Zack Snyder's done a full 180 and he's back to making movies that people actually think are coherent and watchable. But I'm really not expecting that at this point anymore. I just need it to stop. I don't know if this is some sort of weird revenge tour for losing the DC universe and being really mad that, Disney passed on his Star Wars idea like 10 years ago or something. I truly don't know. Maybe more and more people are starting to get on board with the whole Zack Snyder isn't good at making movies anymore argument, because I feel like it's not really an argument anymore. This is just trying to spread the good word. This is just trying to help people see the light if they have been brainwashed by Zack Snyder. If you or someone you know has been brainwashed by Zack Snyder, please get them to one of these videos so that we can snap them out of it. We don't need this version of dark, gritty Star Wars. We have Star Wars, and it's had its ups and downs over the years. I think the reason that people keep sticking with it is because it's Star Wars, right? This is the same thing Pokemon goes through. It's got the name value, right? You're a diehard fan, whether you like it or not. If you're a diehard fan, you're in. You're in, and you're going to stick with these franchises till the bitter end. But there is no Rebel Moon franchise here. This is just a guy who ripped off Star Wars and wanted it to be R-rated and have blood and lots of violence. That's it. That's all this is. This is Zack Snyder's weird Star Wars fan fiction that Netflix is spending what I can only imagine to be hundreds of millions of dollars on. The ultimate frustration here, to me, is that anytime I see Netflix, it's like hook up with one of these out of touch, past their prime movie makers, I think of all the great shows that they've canceled for no reason. The fantastic shows that have been critically acclaimed and gotten fantastic feedback from fans and reviewers, and they've been canceled. And Zack Snyder probably got fucking $500 million to make all his Rebel Moon shit. Meanwhile, Teenage Bounty Hunters gone forever. Zack, it's gotta stop, man. It's gotta stop. I think that, like a lot of filmmakers, there are probably some good ideas in Rebel Moon, but that's not enough, man. That's not enough. Either you need writers in the room that you'll actually listen to, that you won't just overrule, so you can put your own dumb ideas in there. Stuff doesn't need to be divisive or polarizing. Cannot be your way of getting around just admitting that something is garbage. I think that maybe it's time to take a step back, right? We don't need 6 Rebel Moon movies. We truly do not need more of these. I think the first 2 are now the lowest reviewed films of his entire career, which is partially impressive because he's made a lot of bad movies. If these are the worst 2, I can't imagine it getting better, man. You're going to try to squeeze 2 to 4 more movies. He said 4 to 6, which is like, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know. Clearly, he was given a blank check, and Netflix is just letting him fuck around. Make as many as you want, Zach. 4, 5, 6, it doesn't matter. We're just printing money over here. Yeah, we'll cancel another show. It's all good. We'll cancel another couple of shows so that you can make more of your Rebel Moon movies. I'm tired, Zach. I'm tired. I think you need a break. I know you're probably working pretty hard, and I know you're probably pretty mad about the whole DC James Gunn thing, even though you fully deserved it. You deserved to have that universe completely shut down and started over, because most of the reason it was bad was your fault. But I think at this point, seeing what's happening to this Rebel Moon franchise, it's okay to just admit that it didn't work. And there's not really an audience for these films. You don't need to power through and try to make another 4 of them, because they're not doing well. And maybe it's time to just step back, take a little break for a while, and give us all a rest.